Hi, thanks for joining me again, Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today I'm going to show you this 6x6 version of a pop-out card I made a few months ago as a slimline card. So I have not fully decorated this, but when you open this up, you're going to see that it gives you 3 panels that you can fully decorate. Again, I have not finished this card, but I wanted to get the mechanism done so that you can see how it goes together. And on the front, up on the top here and on the bottom, I'll probably put some more like leaves or some kind of embellishment. And then when you open this up, this is how it will open. And on the back, it also has the pattern paper on the back. And then you can see the gobble gobble when it's open on the back side. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to need is our scoreboard. We're going to need 2 pieces that are cut at 12 by 6. Next, we are going to need 2 pieces that are cut at 5 3/4 inch square. And again, you'll need 2 of those. Then we'll need 2 pieces, and these are going to be cut at 5 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches. Then you'll need 4 pieces, and these are cut at 3 3/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. And now we're going to do some scoring. So on the 2 pieces that are the 12 by 6, we are going to score these in half on the 6-inch mark. And we're going to do that on both pieces. So that's all we need for the scoreboard for a minute. We will need it again in a little bit, but right now that's all we need. So now we're going to work on the base pieces, and we're going to have to do some cutting. So we are going to take on the 12-inch side, and we are going to mark this at 1 inch, 5 inches, 7 inches, and 11 inches. And we're going to do that on both the top and the bottom. Next, we are going to turn the paper, and we are going to mark this at 1 inch and 5 inch. And we're going to do this at the top and the bottom again. And now we are going to join those lines. Now you can do this from the long end first, or you can turn your paper and do it on the short side. So since I turned it, we're going to do this on the short side first. And you just want to connect these from top to bottom, lining up those marks. And these are just going to be guide points for when we're going to do some cutting. So you don't want to do these too dark because we will be erasing them. And then we're going to turn this, and we're going to connect the 2 on each side of this piece of paper. And again, I'm turning the paper just because it's easier for me to see and make sure those lines are lined up. So this is what you should have. And what we're going to do is we're going to be cutting out these 2 squares. So for the next piece, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we are going to mark at the 1 inch and 11 inch on the 12-inch side. Then we're going to turn the paper, and again we are going to mark this at 1 inch and 5 inches, top and bottom. Now I did realize that I forgot to tell you to also mark this on the 12-inch side at 3 inches and 9 inches. So it should be, this side should have 1, 3, 9, and 11 at your marks. And again, I'm going to join those. And again, I'm going to do it very lightly. So this is what you should have so far. Now when we turn it, we're going to take and we're going to mark this. Oops, I forgot to do the 1-inch side. So that one was just a little bit off one. Okay, so now that we have our markings on here, so you should have your 1, 3, your middle mark, and then 9 and 11. When we mark this, we're going to mark from the 1-inch to the 3-inch on all 4 sides. So just go that little bit. So you're only going from the first 1-inch mark you made to the 3-inch mark, and you're going to draw a line, and you're going to do that on both sides at top and bottom. So this is what you will end up having, and where I put the X is where we are going to cut these lines on each side. So you have 3 cut marks, and then we're going to fold that 3-inch and that 9-inch on both sides of the paper at a later time. So right now I'm just going to erase the marks that you don't need, because we're not going to cut past those marks. Now on this, you can use your trimmer or you can use a knife and just cut with a ruler. I'm going to use my trimmer because since these are an inch mark from the edge, we can use our ruler and line it up. So for all these cuts, they are going to be 1 inch from the border on all of them. So you're going to want to line your paper up on the 1-inch mark. So I'm going to turn this all the way around just so you can see it a little bit better. So when we do this, we're going to line it up so it's on the 1-inch mark. We are going to go down to the 1-inch mark, and then we're going to cut to the 5-inch mark. And that will leave an inch border on all 3 sides. So this is what you should have. Now I'm going to turn the paper sideways. I'm going to line it up again on the 1-inch mark. I'm going to line my ruler up, and I'm going to cut from the 1-inch to the 3-inch. And that's where it's going to be folded at the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to turn my paper again. I'm going to line it up so that it's at the 1-inch mark. And then this time we are going to go from the 9-inch mark to the 11-inch mark. And let me pull this out and you can see, so this is what we have cut out. And we're going to repeat that on the other side. So again, we're going to start at the 1-inch mark and 1 inch down, and then we're going to cut it to the 5-inch. I'm going to lift my paper, flip it, put this at the 3-inch mark, and then score it back to the 1-inch mark. And then we'll do the last side, keeping the paper on the trimmer at the very end to the right, and then cutting at 9 inches down to 11 inches. And if that is confusing, just always remember you're cutting from 1 inch down and you want to cut to that fold mark or that line, because that's where we're going to fold it. But we'll do that in a minute. Now for the next piece, this is the piece that's going to have the 2 windows cut out. We're just going to do the same exact thing. We're going to line it up on the 1-inch line. I'm going to start at the end of the trimmer. I'm going to go to the 1-inch mark from the end of the paper, and I'm going to cut it to the 5-inch mark, and that's where we had make that first mark. So you really don't need to do your score your or draw your lines on here. If you didn't want to, you could just go ahead and cut this without them, knowing that you have to go 1 inch in and all the way around. So then just turn your paper and do the same thing. Make sure you're at the 1 inch mark, 1 inch in, and then cut it to the 5. And you're just going to repeat the process until you've done all 4 sides. Now I've left the 2 middle pieces for last just to keep the paper intact so it doesn't get flimsy. Okay, so now that those are done, we're going to go ahead and do the 2 middle pieces. So you just want to make sure that that line that you drew, and this is where you might need the lines, is even with your trimmer, and then you're just going to trim from that, again, 5-inch mark down to the 1-inch mark. And then your square should just pop right out. And then turn your paper and do the same thing again. Make sure it's lined up on that line that you drew. Your marker should be in place if it hasn't moved, and just cut down to the 5-inch line. And there is the top of the card. Next, we need to do the top piece of the card, and this is going to be the border on the top layer. So it'll sit just right on here. These are only going to have a 3/4 of an inch border, so we are going to do 3/4 all the way around. So place your paper at 3/4 inch, go into the 3/4 inch marker, and then you're going to go down to 5 inches. Because this piece of paper is 5 3/4 inches. Turn it and do the same thing. And you're going to do this on both sheets of paper that we cut. Again, lining up at the 3/4. Your marker should still be in the same place at the 5, and then just go back down to the 3/4 inch mark. And then you'll have your window piece. And this will sit perfectly on the top and give you a little bit of inside border of the pink, and just do it like a frame on it. So I'm going to cut the second piece. I'm going to speed this up just so we can get through this. So this card does have quite a few cuts, but it just has a big wow factor too. So, okay, so that's the second one, which will set on the second side. So you'll have 2 of those. Next, we're going to need to cut the back of the card. And that is those 2 small pieces that we had cut. And now these ones, we're also going to only do 3/4 of an inch border on 3 sides. So these we're going to sit right on here. And we're only going to do the one side. So you just want to do a 3/4 inch border all the way around. So you will place this on your cutter, go 3/4 inch in, and then you're going to go down to 2 inches. So you're going to start at the very top and cut it, because we want to cut this little piece away. Go to the 2 inch mark, turn it, line it up on the 3/4 inch. You're going to go down to 5, And this time you're going to go 3/4 of an inch in. And then you're just going to cut the rest of that piece away. So you will end up with this C shape piece. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the other one. So this will sit nicely. So I'm going to cut the other one quickly using the same dimensions we used on the prior one. And that will be the 2 pieces. So we don't need our cutting board anymore. So we're going to take the base piece that we did the 2 windows cut out of, and we're going to just fold that in half where we had scored it, and we're going to use our bone folder and we're going to crease that out. And this is what we will have. This is for the top of the card, for the base of the card. The next piece we're going to work on is the other base of the card. And this one we're going to fold in half. You want to fold it so the colors are in. And I just realized that we forgot to score this. So let's grab our scoreboard. And we're going to score this where we had made that 3-inch and 9-inch mark. So we're going to score it a 3-inch and a 9-inch. I'm going to turn the paper and just score it again at 3 inches and 9 inches. And again, it's on those marks that we did. And then we're going to erase all of our pencil marks because these will be seen. So let's move the scoreboard. I'm just going to quickly erase these. Okay, so now that's done. Again, you're going to fold it so that the color side is in, because that will be the card that is part that is facing out. And then you want to fold your 2 half pieces back inward on that score line and then just crease them out. Flip it over and do the same thing. Fold it in, make sure it's lined up, and then crease it out. As I said earlier, this card has a lot of parts to it, but it's pretty easy once you make 5 or 10 of them, then it gets to be really, really easy. So next we're going to assemble the cards. We're going to take this top piece that has the 2 windows cut out, and it's going to lay on top of the other base piece. So it'll sit like this. And as I'm doing this, I realized that we forgot a piece of paper. Or I forgot a piece of paper. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. I need 1 piece that is cut at 6 inches by 7 inches. And we also need to score this at 1 inch on the 7-inch side. So I'm going to pull out my scoreboard and I'm just going to quickly do a 1-inch score on the 7-inch side. Okay, so let me move the board. I'm just going to fold this piece in. And this is actually going to be the other layer of the card that you need for the card. I don't know why I forgot it. So this is going to sit just like there, and it'll fit securely with that 1-inch border. It won't be seen. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to glue this piece down. Doesn't matter what side you glue it on at this point because we haven't assembled the other part. Now you can glue this to either side of the card. Since we haven't assembled anything else, it won't matter because you can just turn it the other way. You want to make sure that the color is out though. And you're gluing this to the back side. So now that I've glued it on this side, this will be the right side of my card. So as it closes, this is what it will look like. Now to glue the inside, again, I'm going to line it up so those 2 pop-out windows sit inside the 2 cutout windows that we had made. And you're probably going to fumble with this a few times. So this is how it should sit. Now the easiest way to glue this is to just close it on itself. So it sits like that, and then turn it. And now what I'm going to do, and it moved on me again. So let me do this again. So the windows are sitting, and what we're going to do is we're going to glue just these 3 pieces that I'm showing you here. That's what we're going to glue to. So again, I'm going to close it on itself. I'm going to open it, And this flap is what I'm going to glue. So we're going to put glue on this flap. This is the part that gets a little bit tricky. Okay, so now just lift up the panel, make sure the window fits inside, and then just line them up. This is why it's best to use glue in this, so that you have a little bit of wiggle room to move it around. And then you just want to make sure that all three of those sides are glued down. And I'm just going to flip it and just use my bone folder again and make sure that it's pressed out. So that's one side done. Close it again on itself. And the same thing, this is going to get glued now to that brown side that we glued. So this, where the pop-out panel, is the piece that we're going to glue. And then we're going to line it up with that edge of that brown piece that we just put on there. And then just kind of fold it in on itself. And that's what you should have. So that is your pop-out card so far. Now we're going to work on the two back pieces. And these are those C pieces that we cut. So I flipped over the card. And I'm just going to put glue on these. And they're going to go on each end. Just on that side. That actually adds a little strength to the card too. And then I just flipped it over and I glued the other side. Okay, so that part is done. So now we're going to work on the frames. And again, we're going to glue these to the front. So I'm just going to fast forward this, put some glue on here, and glue these two pieces down. Since these are a square, it shouldn't matter what direction you put them on, they should fit either way. And then I'm going to open the card, and I'm going to put glue on the second one. And these will be on the two pieces of peach that are showing on the front of the card. So now what I'm going to do is I have the 4 pieces of pattern paper, and these are going to sit inside the card. And then we're just going to glue those down. And these will have just a little bit of a white border behind them. So now that all the pieces are done, we need a piece on this panel. And you can put anything you want. You can put the same pattern paper. And I think I have a piece of scrap over here. So let me see what I can find. So this piece will probably work. So this piece of paper, let me get a measurement for you. So this is 4 3/4 inch square. The reason why I forgot to cut this earlier or show you this earlier is because we forgot this whole panel on this card, so I apologize again. So that will fit nicely in there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this piece down. So that looks perfect. there, just the way it is. Let's make sure it's pretty straight. So now in order to add embellishments, you can decorate this again, like I said, any way you want. I just wanted to get the mechanics done. So I have some letters here that spell out gobble gobble. And I'm going to show you a trick that I learned. And you've probably seen it, maybe you haven't. So when you lay your letters out and you get them where you lined up, putting them back in the same place sometimes is difficult. And you can either do this on your card or you can do it on a board or somewhere else. But if you lay these out, get them lined up as you want them. And I know it's hard to see because they're brown letters on a purple board. But once you lay them out, if you take some wasabi tape and you put it on top of it, push down. Now this is very bad wasabi tape. It doesn't stick very well, but it will hold the letters and then you can just put them back on. So it's just a great way to get your letters lined up. So I'm just putting glue on the back of them now, and then I'll place them back down using the tape as my holder. And then just carefully peeling off the tape. And again, if they move, like I said, this wasabi tape I'm using is horrible. But it's good for this project because it'll hold it just enough and won't stick to the card. Okay, now for the inside of the card, I know I told you I wasn't going to embellish, but I'm just going to do a little bit. I've got this turkey in a pumpkin. And I think I'll put him on this side. I've got a little pumpkin. If I put it over there, there's just not enough on that side. So I need more embellishment. So I'm going to take the pumpkin and probably put it back over with him. But you could put words in here or do anything you want. Again, I didn't fully finish this card because I want to get this posted because I've had quite a few requests to do this 6x6 card. So I'm just going to glue my turkey down. And I'm not going to use any, pop dots or anything or foam to give him any dimension because this card's is pretty thick as it is. And I think I'll put this other pumpkin right next to him. After I finish decorating, I will post this card on Instagram with the finished decorations on it when I post this video. But that's about all I'm going to do for today. Thank you for joining me over here at Purple Girl Crafts today. I hope you had fun. I hope this is a card that you will soon be making. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.